Hello, this is AMH9217. This is going out to a shout out to EMDSD14R. He requested to see my Amtrak fleet in HO scale. Like I said, I do not have my Amtrak rolling stock as in my cars out at the moment, but at the moment I do have all my locomotives and what I own. So I can sit here and just brag on. I'm not trying to, I just want to show you because I was like, oh, you haven't met a lot of other people who like a lot of Amtrak stuff, so it's kind of good to know other people still like enjoy Amtrak. But I'm more of a West Coast guy, so I'm not into the electrics. I do like the HPP8s that they have on the East Coast. I really want to get one in a cellar or the Phase 5 scheme. But Bachmann, they're just too expensive at the moment. So hopefully someday, but for the moment I'm good with my GEs and EMDs. So I guess we can start. Ooh, you know what? I'm missing an engine. I forgot about that one. Ooh, that's an older one. Well, I'll get to that in a minute. Okay, so yeah, I guess we can start with this good old-fashioned Bachmann Spectrum F40PH. This one isn't the 346. I know yours was the 227, the 227. I had the 227 in the old Bachmann Spectrum scheme, but that one ended up breaking on me in it, and I ended up painting it into the Cascades Talgo paint scheme. I made it into a cab car. I'm still working on it just a little bit, but eventually I'll probably get that on YouTube. But I got this one at a train show because that one broke. It's been one of my favorite Amtrak engines. I like the way the F40s look. They're BC engines, I will say. So that's just the start of the simple one. I also have the same exact F40 you got. Mine's exact. I believe yours is a 39.8 as well. This as well has those bright whitish bluish LED headlights and strobes. This one's been my main puller on my Talgo Pendler, if I pronounce that correctly, 200. Just because of how good it runs, and also the bright strobes, which I do enjoy on this engine as well. Very well detailed engine. I love how it is. You have the see-through spinning fans. It is DCC ready to be dropped in a decoder. See-through grills. You know, this is like definitely a step up from the original Bachmann Spectrum from their previous F40, which would be this Phase 3 one. So definitely a big improvement, I think. And then my other F40 I have. This one is a Walther's train line, and it is the number 231. This is actually the Operation Lifesaver one, which is pretty legit. I like it a lot. Definitely, I've seen this engine. Actually, I have a picture of it. I saw it at Vancouver Rail Yard in Washington. There at the depot one evening. It was actually on the back of the Talgo train at the time. Wonderful looking engine. You know, it says, you know, look, listen, and live. Operation Lifesaver. You know, I like it. Currently, this locomotive is actually, I don't know if you're aware of it or not, if anybody is really aware of it, but this engine was purchased by a fellow in Portland, and he ended up taking it and giving it to them. I can't remember the name of the organization, but the organization who owns the Southern Pacific 4449, or the GS4, he kept that engine because there was a story behind it. I can explain it later, but he basically, long story short, he's always seen this engine all over the place throughout Oregon, and when Amtrak was scrapping it, he offered to buy it, and he ended up buying it and donating it to that organization who owns the GS4, 4449, the SPNS 700 and whatnot. It was mainly towards the 4449. They ended up repainting it because that was part of the rules. If you repaint it, then you can have it. But it is still in the original 231 paint scheme. They painted it in the daylight scheme, which is, I believe, the orange and red. The morning starlight, daylight. There we go, the morning daylight. So it looks kind of funky, but I guess it's still the F40. The reason why they did that was because they needed an engine with dynamic brakes so they can run the steam engine, I believe, up and down hills when they're doing their big runs. That's what I believe it was for, but that's just me. Anywho, so moving on. It's a great engine. This has rear markers here at the top that I custom put in myself with the red LEDs. I'm going to put ditch lights in it, and I found out a good way how to do it. I just haven't done it yet, which I will soon and shortly. The next F40 I have. This one's actually in the process of being worked on. This one's weird. I have a picture of this one as well, but it's not the correct numbering. It's the 415. It is in the Surfliner scheme, and it's when I saw this engine when I was younger, it was again at Vancouver Terminal in Washington, and It was on the back of the toggle train, and it was actually a powered unit. It was not a dummy. I believe I have video of it. I know I have pictures of it. I haven't seen this engine since. I only saw it that once, and they probably ended up just repainting it. This engine is not as well, has markers, but the plow's off because I'm in the process of reputting my holes for my ditch lights because I made them a little too big. So I'm reputting them, and then I'll recut them out and put ditch light inserts inside of there and make it look realistic, just like how I will on my other Walthers Trainline one. Anyway, yeah, so I got some crummy weathering on the top for the fans and the exhaust. It kind of looks crappy. I'll end up just redoing it, hopefully. Oh, sorry about my voice. I'm kind of under the weather, so I sound kind of congested. My apologies to you all. Okay, this is another Walthers Trainline. The Pepsi can, as it's known by, number 510. This is an awesome little B-boat. When I was really young, I used to call them B-boats or baby boats. Hence, because of the bat wings here in the back. I know that's not the correct terminology. I believe it's a B48-W, I believe. If I remember right, which I think it is. No, I'm way off. 8-40BW, I was off. Anywho, so Pepsi can, got this engine really cheap. This engine does have an NCE decoder in it. It does have operable markers, as you can see. It has headlights and as well ditch lights that do oscillate when we're in DCC. I will be on these old Pepsi cans, just like the F40s and the P40s. They had their strobes up here at the top. I'm looking for a decoder, and I will be putting strobes on him, make it more realistic. But I'm looking for the right decoder to have the mismatched or the delayed flashers, where they're not flashing at the same time, but they're flashing, you know, on and off, so they're not always flashing at the same rate. Great engine, I like it. I run it with my Empire Builder or my Starlight whenever I run it. And then, of course, I gotta have the Phase 4, or hence the Diet Pepsi can, as they call it, the number 517, as well as the same exact thing. It does have operable ditch lights, markers, and headlights. This one did not have the strobes at the top, but it did have the markers still on them. This one's a great runner, although I did blow an LED on the ditch light, so I have to go in and replace that, which is always going to be fun, hence because it's super glued. This is another great engine. It has as well as an NCE decoder. I love this engine. I really like the Phase 4 paint scheme. Really like it. So it's another Walthers Trainline. It's a great engine. Okay. This is my first F59 PHI, of course, in the Amtrak Northwest. It's number 468. Has a little weathering done on the top. Got this for my 10th birthday, and ever since I've seen the F59 of the Cascades. I still remember the Talgo Pendler when they ran them with the F40s, and they didn't even have a cab car in the back. But I remember when the 59s came around, they made the Cascades, and they had this engine. I always wanted one, and then Athearn came out with them ready to run. So I got this for my 10th birthday, about a year and a half after I've been wanting one. This one my dad fitted with markers, LEDs of course, that turn on when you go backwards, and then it has a white LED headlight and ditch lights. The ditch lights do not oscillate, they just turn on constantly like the headlight. This is just a standard DCC or DC engine still. We'll hope soon to have DCC in it. Still looking at the decoders and what I want to do with my motive power. It's a great engine, I love it. It's been my baby, honestly, with my Amtrak engines. Definitely love it. So in partner to that, of course, I gotta have the Amtrak West, which my numbers are 458. A little bit of weathering done. This one is DCC ready. It does have headlights and ditch lights, and I put a marker light in it to be realistic for when it goes backwards. This actually does have a Digitrax decoder in it, just a simple one that I got. This is a great engine. I like it as well. I have pictures. Actually, speaking of pictures, let me show you one. Actually, here's an old one right here of a West. This is at Vancouver Terminal in Washington, on the Cascades heading southbound to Portland. So I don't know what number this guy is. He's the 464. Yeah, 464. Anywho, so yeah, I like this paint scheme because it was blue and silver, and at the time, blue was my favorite color. So I've tended to run this engine with my F40 that's in this paint scheme as well, although they don't run together quite well because one's a Walthers and one's an Athearn. But anyway, it's another great running engine. I love how they look. I've always liked the F59s. They've been nicknamed called pigs, I think, as well. So